This region is home to Theravada Buddhism, which means School of the Elders, one of the two major Buddhist codes in the world. Yet Burma is also home to Southeast Asia's last true dictatorship. The generals have been in charge since 1962 and with China's backing continue to cling to power. When Siddhartha Gautama, known as the Buddha, preached 2,500 years ago that life was nothing but a continuous cycle of suffering, he would not have expected Burma's generals to take him quite so literally. Not for the first time, monks are now taking on the generals. Many of Burma's monks have found sanctuary over the years in Thai towns like the northern city of Chiang Mai. I'm put in touch with one Burmese monk studying here who, like many, didn't want to be identified. U says he's anxious about the safety of many of his friends inside Burma.
I feel very so sad because most of my friends were in Europe and some are dead. They come at night, they come and shoot and arrest the monks, other monks, and destroy the monastery. Yes, so I feel very so sad.
Since Buddhism is fundamentally based on non-violence, there are few weapons available to the monks in their standoff. During the most recent protests, monks were chanting not anti-government slogans, but reciting the Metta Sutta, a Buddhist mantra to spread loving kindness to all, including one's enemies. Christianity has holy crusades, Islam has jihads. Is there something similar in Burma and Buddhism?
No, it's very different from the Christian and Muslim. We Buddhists never use the violence to spread our religions.
Uwera claims most of Burma's 400,000 monks and nuns support the pro-democracy movement. But it is possible to find at least one monk who is prepared to toe the government line and stay out of politics. Wat Sai Mon, a 450-year-old Burmese Buddhist temple in the heart of Chiang Mai, is a monastery well known for its pro-government stance. I'm eager to hear how its 87-year-old abbot, U Arthipha, can justify the government crackdown on fellow monks. Buddhism preaches compassion, but U Arthipha says the ultimate level of compassion is a sublime indifference to all worldly affairs, even justice. But many monks are not content to remove themselves from the injustice around them. 15 years ago, while reporting from Burma, I got to know a rebel Buddhist group called the All Burma Young Monks Union. They were openly operating with ethnic and student guerrillas trying to overthrow the government. I've heard that many have since gone back to Burma or found refuge abroad, but I head for the border anyway, hoping to reconnect with those who are left. We're heading for the border town of Mesam Lep, which is right on the Salween River, demarcating the border between Thailand and Burma. We've been given a contact for some monks in a monastery, so we're hoping to take at least one of them upriver, and perhaps they can introduce us to some other monks who are operating on the border and see what's going on with the influx of refugees. When we get to the border, our contact says he is forbidden to accompany me upriver to one of the rebel camps. With the Burmese army camp directly opposite, my translator and I head down the bank to a boat waiting to take us upriver to one of the few areas in Burma still controlled by the resistance groups. As all the latest media focus is on the uprising in the cities, it's easy to forget that dozens of ethnic hill tribe groups, like the Karen, have faced persecution for 50 years. There are 100,000 refugees living along this border alone. At this Karen camp, just inside Burma, no new monks have arrived, but I meet Sorta Care and his family of 9 children who've arrived just this morning. They're Christian, but do they support what the monks are trying to do in Burma? Further down the border is a monk who's become something of a legend for his rather militant approach. 67-year-old Uwizana is nicknamed the Rambo monk, since in his earlier days he used to roam frontline areas with a pistol. During the 1970s, the Rambo monk was jailed for 4 years for his association with rebel Buddhist groups. Once out, he fled to the border, where he continues to help coordinate an underground campaign against the regime. Buddhism preaches non-violence, so as a monk, how far can you go to confront this regime? Were there any stories or teachings of the Buddha where he can justify action against harsh rulers? Ong Zaw is editor for Irrawaddy magazine, a leading source of news on Burma. He says the current uprising is not the first time monks have led popular revolts.
The monks had played a very, very important role even under British. And, we have two prominent monks known as Uisara and Ultima. They both involved in a struggle against the British colonialists. Buddhist monks in Burma, they have to go out every morning to receive alms, donations and foods. They go to each household to receive alms, and they are the ones who constantly keep in touch with the people, which means they witness what is going on in the country. It's not the military leaders. They seen the conditions in the country, and they decided to lead this uprising. A monk told us that we had to. A monk said we had to, and we knew that we were going to die, but we're going to sacrifice our country.
Even the generals would consider themselves to be Buddhist. Do you think any of them are worried about the karmic implications of what they're doing?
It's karma. Whatever goes around will come around.
The frustration of so many years under a military regime is clearly testing the core value of non-violence among many devout Buddhists in Burma. The goal of Buddhism is to break the cycle of constantly being reborn into lives of suffering. This is the state popularly known as Nirvana. During the struggle against the British, some monks equated the struggle for Nirvana with the struggle for political independence. Once again, some are saying that by taking part in protests and confronting the regime, they are getting closer to Nirvana.
We have to do the good deeds, not only for me but also for people. Yes, we did peacefully. We protest peacefully. That's the right action. We can say that is the way to get Nirvana.
To this right main of this left is which arcading the somewhere now with a regime the Burma border between the Thai and Main.